Can a luxury beauty collection feel as comfortable as your favorite pair of jeans? Today we are here to find out. I have the new Chanel denim collection and I'm going to go through a very in-depth review of everything in the collection. I'm going to talk about the formulas, pricing, and then we'll get into comparisons. Hey everyone, welcome back. So this collection, this Chanel denim collection, is an interesting transition from the moody Rouge Noir collection that I'm calling winter to this sort of airy textural Coco Denim spring. And if you look at the Matthieu Blazy influence, denim as a luxury fabric, I think you can see that there's a lot of this in his spring summer 26 runway looks. And on the models, supposedly they did use some of this collection. I can't verify that, but supposedly they did. So before we get into each product and talk about the formula, the pricing, and all that good stuff, I do want to mention the pouch factor. That's what I'm calling it. This pouch comes with all of the eyeshadows. It comes with both eyeshadows. It comes with the illuminating powder. It's also available on the hand lotion. I'll put up a picture. I haven't picked up the hand lotion yet, but I will. And this is the first time that Chanel has swapped their iconic black velvet fabric since the tweed collection. We know how well the tweed collection did, guys, because a lot of people wanted the pouches. So it's a denim-like feel, but it's very soft, and then it has the silver CC logo. You know, that's another thing. Chanel doesn't do a lot of silver. I happen to love silver, so I take note when there's a silver shade in Chanel. So we're gonna go through all of the products, and I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna go through the product, I'm gonna talk about the product, I'm gonna show it to you on my face and how I used it today. I'm gonna give you the price, and then I will do comparisons. This is going to be a relatively long video since it's so in-depth. I've done a lot of research on it as well. And there'll be a lot of comparisons. So I will timestamp. I try to always timestamp, but I will timestamp each product so that you can see, you know, in its totality, the product and all of the different details. So let's start with the face, the cool tones, the highlighter. This is an illuminating powder. And Chanel has done many illuminating powders. This is certainly not their first. And it's a lovely blue shade when you look at it. However, it is a blue to pink shift. It's called a polar highlighter, cool toned, but very flattering. It has synthetic mica for that wet look, and it does not have any chunky glitter in it. It's not anything that's gonna like sit on your face. The Chanel powders almost always have mica as a primary base to them, especially the limited edition ones. Not always, but almost always. And in this one, they're using natural mica, and then they're using synthetic mica, which is the Fluoro Flow Gopite. So they're using both. The synthetic mica, the Flow Gopite, wish I could pronounce it correctly, Fluoro Flow Gopite. They use that because it has a whiter sparkle without the grittiness or earthiness of natural minerals. So that's why you get that denim shimmer, the fabric kind of thing. You can use it wet. You can take this, I would always just do like a little corner of it, and get a more metallic effect if you do that. You can do that on the eyeshadows as well. As you see me putting it on, this is what we're calling the Coco Denim highlighter. It's also, this official name is Illuminating Powder. I put this heavily on the high points of my cheekbones, as you can see, before my foundation. I also put it on my nose and up into my forehead, sort of an underlit glow. Then I put the foundation on top. The foundation is the Chanel Touch in BR22. The application is really easy. If you want something very light and just a dusting, you can absolutely do that. Or you can do like I did, use a heavy, dense brush and put it on either underneath your foundation like I did, or over your foundation if you want more of that glittery look. You can see it's not glittery, it's just luminescent. Chanel does a fantastic job with their finely milled powders. I have never had a Chanel powder that I hated. I've had some that aren't my favorites. There's ones that I think have more glitter in them than others, but this one is absolutely stunning, and the shift from the blue to pink is actually extremely wearable. So what I want to show you is on the back of my hand, this shade versus the Dior Blue Strobe, which my lovely subscribers, members out there, had to remind me that I owned, because I have so much makeup now, I sometimes forget. So we are going to compare this in swatch, and over the course of the month, I will do comparison videos like I did in January, where I show you the Dior powder like on one side of my face and the Chanel on the other, so you can get an even better look at the differences. But what I would tell you just from trying it out for the last couple of days is that the Chanel is much more subtle and it is much softer. I feel like the Dior is more, well, it is called Blue Strobe, so it has more of a strobe look, whereas the Chanel is more just luminescent. I also have a Suku powder in blue, and I want to show you that one as well. Suku is harder to get in the United States, so if you are, abroad, you probably have seen this a lot more than if you are here in the US. Suku is also quite nice. I find it to be a very finely milled, excellent powder. Okay. So here we go. This is the Suku, this is the Dior, and this is the Chanel. Chanel, Dior, Suku. Now when I move my hand, I think you can see the Dior has more of this strobing effect, but the Chanel does pivot from blue to pink. When I look at them, what I would say is I think the Dior has, like I said, more of that strobing effect. It's much more noticeable. Like you're gonna see it. Whereas the Dior, the Chanel, it's definitely more subtle. It's less white. It's more pinkish blue. And the Dior, I think you see the particles more. The Dior's in the middle. Than the Chanel. I think the Suku is actually quite similar to the Chanel, if you have it. It is a similar look, but the Suku doesn't have that pink shift. It's just blue. And I've been asked many times about why you would want a blue powder, and my answer is there's a lot of reasons, but the first reason being the color theory or the color wheel. When you paint or when you design and you're trying to figure out colors, there is a color that is always the opposite of a color on a color wheel. So a lot of times when people have redness or maybe a little bit of orange, depending on the shade of green, in their face, they'll use a green pigment to cancel that out. That's why you see the Prada powder with green. Chanel has a green corrector that I actually have. If you have rosacea like I do, oftentimes you'll use a green corrector. It cancels out redness, and again, it can be orange too, depending on the shade of green. Blue has a similar effect. Blue will cancel out yellows and oranges because it's just the opposite, blue and yellow, on the color wheel. So if you're trying to neutralize some yellowness, the blue will do that. And one of the things that happens when you put blue on most people's face is that it brightens. Because very few products that I've ever seen are blue. Like they're not blue. They're not like the blue eyeshadow or the blue nails that I have. They are a bluish tint. And so that bluish tint will actually brighten the face and make it have more, it's like, ooh, let's draw attention to this area. Now, the great thing about drawing attention to an area is if you already have lines and wrinkles and all that good stuff, does it draw attention to that? Yes. Which is why it's very important that the brightening powders have also a blurring technology. The Suku does. I believe that the Chanel, the way that it's finely milled and the way that it works, I do not notice any accentuation. The Dior, I notice some accentuation, but it's not too bad. So, that's what you want to know. But it is something to keep in mind because it can attract attention. So you're going to look to it, which is the whole point of the illumination. But if you really hate the texture on your skin, if it's something that really bothers you, just try it out first and see if it's too much for you. I don't think the Chanel will be. I honestly think the Chanel is the most subtle of all of them, but just be aware of it. So next we're gonna move to the lip. There are 4 Coco Flashes in this collection. They are all new shades, 284, 286, 288, and 290. When I had the opportunity to get this collection early to show all of you, I chose just to get 284, which is the baby blue. I will actually buy, and I have them on reserve, all of the shades on the 18th when this collection goes live. That is when you will be able to get this collection online and in stores. I will buy another baby blue, just so you guys know. I really enjoy this shade. I think it is a wonderful way to cool down a look. However, if you are buying this just because you think you can use it by itself, I would say that that will be tricky. Because when you put this on your lips, it just makes you look really cold. It makes you look like you have been out too long in the weather that we have here in New England, and you're about to be like going to frostbite. Now maybe that's your look. Maybe that's your thing. So if it is, hey, all hats off to you. But I think most people are gonna go, oh, that makes me look like I have frostbite. So what I have been using it for is over warmer toned liners, because that's a look I love to do. I love using like a balmy, like the Flash products and the Coco Bombs and all of those, and other brands, over a liner and just having that look. So there's a lot of sheerness, but there's also some structure from the liner itself. This one is great for anything that you feel like is a little too warm on you, making it a little bit cooler. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on a very orange lipstick, and then I'm gonna put this over it. So let me take this off really quickly. Now I don't have a liner on because I don't want to change the color. I want you guys to see what I'm talking about. This is a sheer one because I think it actually works a little bit better with other sheer shades or a liner, but that can be up to you. This is Hermes, and this is Poppy. Again, this was the sheer shade. There's also Orange Bois, like which is the, I think it's matte. It could be satin, I'm not sure, but it's very orange. It's orange orange. Okay, now I'm gonna show you what it looks like when I put this over it. Instantly cools down whatever shade you have. It's a beautiful finish. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love the Coco Flashes. I think they're great. They don't have much of a longevity. I will absolutely say that, but it's a sheer icy baby blue. Now, this is not pH changing. This, unlike the Dior lip glow or some of the, blue balms that you see, like the Prada one, the Chanel blue lip shades in the Coco Flash line are designed as top coats or toners. So the idea is it doesn't turn pink. It instead takes the blue pigments and neutralizes warmer yellow tones, just like the illuminating powder, and in your natural lips or lipstick underneath, giving a cooler, more editorial sort of mauvey look, which I really like. It also has like an iced look to it, of course, because it's the blue. It features the Hydra Boost Complex, Mimosa Jojoba, and Sunflower waxes for that signature melt on the lip kind of feel, which is what it feels like, which is what all the flashes have. So now let's chat really quickly about the products that I do not have yet, as I mentioned in the lipstick section. I don't have 286, 288, and 290. They are still Coco Flashes, but they seem to be more like pinky browns. They're not blue and they're not pink. I think they're just a good, cool toned kind of shade range. The nail polish, the Laverness nail polish in 419 is a metallic rich blue. Now, it's not as deep as this one. This is an OPI shade, but it is very It is very blue, and it has a metallic sheen to it. I would say that nail polish will probably sell out first because everybody, you know, it's a relatively good price point for Chanel, and they don't do blues as often. I think it's just going to be very popular because blue is also like a super popular color this year. The hand lotion, as I mentioned, it's the round hand lotion, which I have in my bag. I don't think I have one up here. No, I don't. I have it in my bag. But it does have the denim pouch with it. So I think that is also going to be extremely popular. And then there are, and we'll get into the eyeshadows last, but there are also two eyeliners. One being Blue Twill, which I will talk about today, which is a brand new shade. And the other is Blue Metal, which is an existing shade. I will show you the two. They are obviously both blue and they're very beautiful, and I collect any blue liners from Chanel. Like I have all of them. But just remember that Blue Metal you can just get now. So if you're looking at the collection on the 18th and you're like, what should I get first? And you want one of the liners, get the Blue Twill because that one is the limited edition. I went heavy on the Blue Twill today, so you guys could see it in its glory. I think it's a beautiful shade, but it is actually less blue and more grayish blue. I mean, again, I think it's quite beautiful, but just be aware that it is not as blue as some people might think. I'm taking off the Chanel denim jacket because this is a vintage denim jacket from, what year is this? 86? I don't even remember anymore. I'll make sure the year's down below. But this is irreplaceable, and I need to swatch these liners on my arm, and I don't want to get it all over my jacket. We're back. So, Blue Twill. This is the shade. I'm going to put it on my hand so you can see it, but then I'm going to start swatching these on my arm because I have a lot of blue liners. So Blue Twill, like I said, is this grayish blue. And if you look at Chanel's runway and you look at the spring summer line and the silk denim pants that are almost, I don't know if they're see-through. Well, they're kind of see-through. They're kind of transparent. That's what this color reminds me of. Now, again, I was told that they did use this liner and these eyeshadows, which we'll get into last, on the models on the runway, but I can't verify that, so it's possible they did not. But the shades, the colors of the denim, definitely, you can see that. And then the other one is Blue Metal. And this one, like I said, is an existing shade from Chanel, but it's part of the line and you can see why. All right, so what we're gonna do is put them on my arm. I will tell you right now that these liners are my favorite liners. There's Blue Metal, there's Blue Twill. Twill definitely has shimmer to it. And you have to make sure they close really tightly. Be very, very careful with that. They're waterproof and, in my opinion, the best liners on the market because these do not come off. All right, the next shade is Nero Volcano, and you'll probably be like, well, that's not blue. It's not, it's a gray, but you have to look at the twill and include some of the grays because it just has a grayish tinge to it. It's not, you know, exact, but Blue Carbone, which also, again, was a special edition, limited edition. The only, well, they do have a couple of blues. I think Blue Metal, and I'll make sure any other blues that are part of their regular line are up there, but I think there's only like one or two. This is Green Graphite, Fervent Blue. Fervent Blue is one of my favorites. This is Marine. Marine might be part of their regular collection. Blue Abyss. Amazing how many shades of blue there are. In my live, my member live, I was talking about the color blue and why it's been considered regal for so long. And I was so tired and out of it that I mixed up the two shades I was trying to talk about. I was like, no, the ultramarine is the color. Ultramarine is a color that was used exclusively for royals and religious figures because it was from the lapis lazuli rock, which was only found in Afghanistan, and it was very difficult to get and very expensive. So then it became sort of the color of the wealthy. And then in the 1900s, we created colors like cerulean blue and cerulean, and others that, again, because it was a similar bright blue or had that type of aspect to it, was always connected to wealth and money. So that's why when you see blues a lot of times, it's sort of a connection to a wealthy, rich clientele. This is Intense Teal, which is a stunning shade and very hard to find. This is Blue Exquis, I think that's how it's pronounced, which has, or be Exquis, it has a purple to it. This is True Blue, which is a very light, like bright blue. And then we have the Chanel liners that are the co-liners. This is Blue Jean. These are not waterproof, but I mean, they're more smudgeable and they stay on really well. This is Marine. So same name, but different color. Then we have Regal Blue, which I don't believe exists anymore. And then I have the Old Blue Jean. You can see the shade is slightly different than the new one. Then, I have a lot of blue liners, guys. And those were all Chanel. Those were all Chanel. But then I have a number of blue liners that are not Chanel. So let's go into Victoria Beckham. We've got a couple from her. All right. And she's got some great shades. These are very smudgeable though, so very different kind of product. This is Navy Noir. You can see how smudgeable these are. See how like easily that went on, how deep it is. But they come off easier too. They smudge great though. And then this one is Surfside. Make sure you close those correctly too, because they can also, all these liners can dry out. Then we have Jeans, which will probably be maybe the best for this collection if you decide you want to use it. Then we have Electric Blueberry. Very bright blue. Got some Tom Ford. We have, this is Navy Black. Very dried out. I've had these for a long time. And then we have Midnight. That one I think would be good with this collection. The Midnight. Okay. I have a MAC liner in Bishop Blue, which is more like that jeans kind of shade. It's like a grayish shade. I've got Calorie liner. What shade is this? This is the Deep. I have a Clinique. Oh, this is the new one. Yeah, I like this one. Deep Denim. I like the Clinique liners. They go on really well. They don't irritate your eyes. Much better price point. That's Deep Denim. Then I have a Wayne Goss. This is Blue Sapphire. I have a Dior in Blue Captivant? Blue Captivant. Okay. We have Neen. This is a very bright blue. This is in Minty. Very bright. We have Guerlain in Night Blue. I'll put it over here. Very deep. I like the Guerlain liners. They're good too. Pat McGrath in Blitz Blue. And that's too close to that one, but sorry guys, my arm's getting tired. We have Dior in Pearly Cobalt. And then last but not least, we have Charlotte Tilbury. These are the dual-ended pencils. We've got it in Super Blue. All dried out. And then we have it in Super Blue Matte. Now you can go back through and go through all the names. But the two new shades, and one is existing again. This is Blue Metal. This is Blue Twill. And those are all my blue liners. So Blue Twill, I'm just looking to see, you know, there's not one that's exactly like it, but it's more grayish blue than it is blue blue. Now we're going to talk about eyeshadows. Now, I did not pick up the Noir Allure Blue Mascara. The reason I didn't is that I felt like, along with like the hand cream and the Blue Metal liner and the nail polish, it could wait because the formula is, I'm not as fond of the Noir Allure formula in the mascara. I like the volume mascara from Chanel. So there is a blue volume mascara from Chanel, and I don't currently have it, but I'm pretty sure, I'll have to check, but I think it's in stock in the boutique. So I think I'm gonna pick up the Noir Allure Denim Blue Mascara that comes with this collection and the volume one, just so you guys can see the difference. But in my opinion, I always lean towards the volume. The Noir Allure that I have on my eyes today, and you'll see me putting it on, is the one that came out a couple of, I don't remember which collection it was, but it's Noir Allure Amethyst. It's a very, very deep purple. This is not the lilac one. This is the deep purple one. It was the one that I actually like the color of. And the anthracite is also a nice one. That's a deep gray. So I did not pick up the Noir Allure Rouge Noir mascara, the one for the last collection. And I was told that actually it seems pretty good. Like people are like, oh, I actually like it. So if I can get my hands on it somewhere, I might get it. But again, it's, you know, it's probably gone by now. But I am going to get the blue one. So when you look at this look, just realize this is a little bit purpler, that's not a word, more purple than it would be than the Noir Allure Blue Denim one. But I didn't have it, so I figured the amethyst one would probably work. There are two eyeshadow quads. They are the baked formula, common in Europe and Asia, and now often in the US limited editions that they do. They are designed to be buildable rather than high impact, and they are best applied if you're trying to get that metallic denim payoff with a damp brush or your finger. You can also use a Kolinsky brush. They use spherical powders to ensure the blue doesn't look chalky on any deeper skin tones. So I will be very interested to see if that is actually indeed the case. My skin is so pale, you know, there would be no way to know, but I would love to hear from all of you. So the idea of this collection for the eyeshadows was a gradient wash. Like the spring summer collection, and the denim that is being used is very like transparent. It's like a watercolor. So that is the idea. There are two eyeshadow quads, and I will show you both of them. Although I only have one look on my eye right now, I will show you the other look as well. This is Denim Dream and Coco Jean. The one I have on my eye right now is Denim Dream. There is a deep anthracite shade that you can use as an accent. I also used it along the lash line. That shade has a similar undertone to the Twill liner. It's grayish, that's what anthracite is. It's a grayish blue. I think it's really beautiful. The blue in here is a baby blue, like the lip, like the Flash, the Coco Flash. It is supposed to be more of like a watercolor of shades. So it's supposed to be soft, a wash of color, no harsh lines. That's the idea. And the idea is that it's all supposed to be this, you know, almost transparent spring iced look, which I think is actually quite beautiful when you use it. I think that it's interesting that the Chanel designers decided to go from Rouge Noir to denim. Like, I mean, it's a very, very different look. Now, I think this vintage denim kind of idea is quite beautiful. And I think this particular look with the Denim Dream on the eyes and this very light, icy lip, I think is really, really nice. I tried to keep the face relatively simple, and I used a little bit of Rose Ardent cream blush and a little bit of bronzer, but I tried not to use too much of it because this is supposed to be like an icy, you know, watercolor kind of thing. And I think if you do too much blush or bronzer, it competes with that. But I do love the shift of everything, this bluish pink. I do think you get a really nice, almost shimmer from the entire collection. Now, when I mentioned the using your finger versus like a wet look, if you take a brush and you dip it in just a little bit of, you can use a little bit of water, you can use a mixing medium, and you can get a much like more intense look. So I'm gonna show you very quickly what I mean by that. You've already seen the look on my face and me putting it on. I did use Kolinsky brushes, and Kolinsky brushes tend to be, they pick up more pigment, they're very tough. So you can actually get more of a payoff with them. But I'm gonna take this deep shade, this anthracite shade. I have a little bit of water on my brush, just water. I'm not using a mixing medium. I'm just using water. And I always go into like just a little corner of the circle because I don't want to, it does change a little bit the feel of the shadow. So don't just, you know, run it all over the shadow. Brush, can you see like just the wing here that I'm doing? And how it looks metallic. See that shift and see the metallic nature of it because it's wet? I'll put it on with my finger. It looks a lot like the blue twill because that's the anthracite shade. Now, if I use my finger, you see the difference? So don't be afraid to use a little bit of water or a mixing medium to do it. But can you see how I just use a tiny little part of the round thing? It doesn't ruin the shadow. It's just, it changes the consistency a little bit. So just be aware of that. I don't think it's a big deal because I use makeup to use makeup. Like, I mean, I'm using it all the time. But I know some people don't like having their makeup look bad in the palette. And if that's your, you know, thing, then it can make it look less appealing. Now you'll see how much more metallic this looks when I do it this way. Again, you don't need much mixing medium or water. You don't need a lot. You just need a very little amount. So, and you'll see how wet the metallic and how it looks. I mean, it's pretty stunning. But I would definitely pounce. Don't, and I can do the same with the water with the white. And yeah, most of the time you can use a mixing medium or water with your shadows, unless it's specific. I mean, a baked formula, you should be fine. You see how metallic that is? I mean, it's really beautiful. Now, this is obviously a more intense look. Like, not everybody wants to walk around like this, but I just wanted you to know that they have the capability of doing that. This reminds me of the Chanel's of old. This is the quality that I used to see all the time at Chanel. And whether or not you like the color story, I get that. The formula, the way it pays off, the way it looks like a watercolor and it's just like a wash of shades and really beautiful and then has this metallic intensity when it's wet. Yeah, that's my Chanel. I also did a look with the Coco Dream, but if you focus on the silver colors, the blue colors in there, and you do them wet like I did for this look, you do get a similar look between the two. I will say though that the two can be very different if you use them in pure powder form and if you don't focus solely on the blue/silver shades. But of course, those are the shades that I like the most, so I did focus on those. So I think you can probably tell my thoughts on this collection. I think it's gorgeous. I love everything in it, but I'm a big blue lover, as you could tell from all of my blue eyeliners. I honestly think this is a collection not to miss. I think some of the stuff will sell out before it even hits the stores. I think there's pre-orders going on. Well, I know there's pre-orders going on. So if it's something that you want, if it's a collection that you really are interested in after seeing me use it, or just because you like blue or whatever, I would, you know, pick it up sooner rather than later, guys. I don't think it's going to be around. And the things that I think will sell first, nail polish and the hand cream, because of the hand cream, because of the special round pouch. That was just going to be very popular. And then I think the liners will go because blue is a relatively unusual shade. And the denim illuminating powder, just because it's unusual. I think the eyeshadows will be the last to go because some people are like, oh, 90s blue eyeshadow, you know, 80s blue eyeshadow. But these are not that. In my opinion, these are some of the most beautiful shades I have ever seen, and I absolutely love all of this collection. So I will have links on the 18th when they are available. If they're available before that, of course I will share them. But, and I mean this with all my heart, I greatly appreciate that you guys support me and buy through my links, but don't wait for my links. If you see this before, or you can buy them before from your SA, do so if you really want them, because they're gonna be gone. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video really soon.